the two political parties, the NDC and the NPP, next year or the 7th of January 2025, they would have done 32 years. If you strongly believe that the major question confronting everyone in this country is that poverty levels are still going high, our youth, our brothers and sisters, especially our brothers, have now turned into betting professors and they are not getting jobs to do, then it means we are doing something that is wrong. And here I want to quote Einstein when he said, if we continue to do the same things over and over again, we are surely going to get the same results. If we are still going to remain with the NDC and the MPP and continue to listen to the same old promises, I can tell you that it will only be a matter of change, but not transformation. These automotive companies are assembling here. These were all policies that he himself sat down, wrote to woo these automobile companies into the country to be assembling here. The objective is not just to be assembling, but to be actually manufacturing the vehicles in this country. And that is why, as a movement for change and as one of the plans of Mr. Lanchemante, is to make sure that we don't just go and mine the iron ore that has been discovered in the northern part of this country and export it in the raw form. No, he believes that we have to process iron together with manganese and bauxite to produce steel. Out of that steel, then we can manufacture the vehicles here. And that is why we take a serious view to the lithium deal. Because as part of our strategy, as a movement for change, is to develop the automotive industry. And if you want to develop the automotive industry, you know very well that the world is moving towards the green energy. And so, very soon, we are going to do away with fossil energy. If you are going to do away with fossil energy, it means you are going to use electric cars. And if you are using electric cars, you will need a lot of rechargeable batteries. And one of the key components of rechargeable batteries is lithium. So you don't go and get lithium and go and sell it cheap as though we are afraid to develop. And that is why we as a movement believe that it is time the country entrust the destiny of governance into the hands of Mr. Lanchemante.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
You were till for a PENDREAM TV in Pacho. When him say the news not talk for my near the bro. News say our babeti in Pacho. So what didn't we want to Trebia and also what didn't Trefa. News be I present your platform with you for your voice note not for sending it. I was 0277 128 777. The debate 2 PENDREAM FM so Magana for you not on can. Young call T and a story I did bro.
2023. And once again, let me acknowledge our distinguished, eminent, traditional leaders for gracing the occasion. Thank you very much. A very big thank you. And of course, a big thank you to the many of you who have joined us here. If you're in Tamale, please come. Come and be part of this. You always watch it on TV. For the first time, you have the opportunity of actually watching it happen live. And let me also acknowledge Alhaji Atta Isa, who is NDC parliamentary candidate for Sanyarugo constituency. Okay. And there's Alhaji FK, who is Tamale Central chairman of the NDC in Tamale Central. We also have Alhaji Ngban Al Hassan. I hope I got your name right. Mbahu. Who is chairman of the NDC in Tamale North. There's Alhaji Abdul Rauf, who is chairman of the NDC in Tamale South. And of course, Alhaji Sasa, who is Savelugu chairman. Thank you all for coming. And of course, let me move on to the man who's had quite a year. When this year started, I used to enjoy his tussles with Beatrice and then Kojo Chumbuafo specifically, when he was at least trying his best to put as the best defense for this government. Now he's a member of the Movement for Change.
Good morning to you, Senna, to Mr. Pratt, our Honorable Mutala, a good friend who is doing a very good job. Thanks for hosting us. to my brother Sweeney, another honorable, doing a fantastic job, and my elder sister. As for her, I even came to witness some of the propaganda this morning on her, and I couldn't believe it. But such is the game of politics. To our revered chiefs, I greet you. I bring you greetings from the next leader of this country, Alan John Kojo Tremantin. Mr. Tremantin says I should tell the people of Tamale that the battle of 2024 will be fought and won in the northern region, and under no circumstance would he lose in the northern region. It is a battle that will be fought based on plan, on policies, on practical policies. Because where the country has gotten to, it is no more a joke. It's a serious situation that we find ourselves. It's not business as usual, where you wake up very early in the morning, go and cast your vote, and you do not see any improvement in your life. We have gone beyond that. And if you all agree that as a country we are facing serious challenges, then we must, as a matter of urgency, ask ourselves a fundamental question. That what it is, that having started this fourth Republican dispensation since 1992, remember in 1993 the NDC was ushered into government. They remained in power till 2001, 7th January. John Ejekun Kufuor took over, left power in 2009. Professor Mills, may his soul rest in peace, took over, left along the way. Former President John Mahama took over and left us in 2017. Nana Addo took over, and it's about leaving office. So the two political parties, the NDC and the NPP, next year or the 7th of January 2025, they would have done 32 years. If you strongly believe that the major question confronting everyone in this country is that poverty levels are still going high, our youth, our brothers and sisters, especially our brothers, have now turned into betting professors and they are not getting jobs to do, then it means we are doing something that is wrong. And here I want to quote Einstein when he said, if we continue to do the same things over and over again, we are surely going to get the same results. If we are still going to remain with the NDC and the NPP and continue to listen to the same old promises, I can tell you that it will only be a matter of change, but not transformation. And I am not sure you are all looking for change. You are looking for a change that will bring transformation into your lives. A change that will see that your daughter, that your son, moving from being unemployed to employed. And that is what we are all looking for. Unfortunately, today we are in Tamale. And so I want to reduce all that Mr. Alan Tremantin has been saying and relate it to the Tamale economy and relate it to the politics of Northern region, and so that at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with the good people of Tamale Central and Tamale North retaining your MPs. After all, they have proven to be people who are like-minded, people that are very effective in what they do. At the end of the day, listening to the two of them, the only conclusion that I have come to is that our constitution, the make of it currently, calls for a leader who is independent, a leader who thinks so much about the welfare of this country. Because so much power has been entrusted into the hands of the president. So if you get a president who is reckless, I can tell you, you and I will not see or find our way clear. The northern economy is practically an agrarian economy. Here you are more into agriculture. Is that not the case? And so one of the key issues that are, and I'm very happy we have our revered chiefs here, because you are the owners of the land, that you are the eye of the people, so that today affords the movement for change led by Mr. Alan Tremantin the opportunity to speak directly to you and to explain to you what we believe in. We believe that as a country, to deal with our unemployment situation, we must invest heavily in agriculture. Under the current dispensation, there is no way you would engage in your farming business and make profit. It's absolutely impossible. It is impossible because you would need to invest heavily in farming inputs, in your seedlings, in farm preparation, and so on and so forth. As we speak, we are doing an interest rate of more than 30%. If you went to bank to go and borrow as a farmer, you will not have a loan less than 30%. Now, what it means is that your cost of production is very high. By the time you are done with farming, it makes your foodstuffs very expensive. It becomes so expensive to the ordinary Ghanaian, who therefore is unable to patronize you. And while the person is not able to patronize your foodstuffs, you are going to run into losses. You borrowed money, you could not pay back. So what is the guarantee that next year you have the wherewithal to go back and farm? And that is the reality of the day. So Mr. Lanchamantin is saying that yes, you want to do your 24-hour economy. We are not against it, because the totality of an efficient administration is to lead to a 24-hour economy. So he wants to deal with this issue by first reducing interest rate to the barest minimum. Remember, you are not competing amongst yourself. If you are farming in Ghana or you are farming in Tamale, you are competing with someone farming in Japan. The person in Japan is taking a loan at a single digit. If it is not 1%, it's 2%. Imagine you producing rice and someone in Japan also producing rice. You went for loan at ADB at more than 30%. The person in Japan went for a loan at 2%. Between the two of you, who will be able to sell more? You will not be able to sell, and he will take advantage. So to be able to deal, first of all, with the nuances of this economy, tackle your issue of interest rate. And there is a correlationship between interest rate and inflation. When your interest rate is down, it affects your inflation. Inflation also comes down, so it affects it. Then he said we should also deal with our currency, the depreciation of the currency, and that he promises to bring down, and also reduces a number of taxes. I was listening, and my brother was talking about COVID tax here and there. Yeah, you see, the greatest injustice that has been done to the people of this country is the overheaping of taxes on the poor citizen. Everyday tax, as though it's a curse to be in Ghana. But the issue is, and that is why I like my brother Mutala. Sometimes he's very frank and speaks the truth, that the shape system we have in our parliament, if we are not going to deal with it, we will not make any headway. He has an independent view, and I disagree with him on the fact that he was sent to parliament by the National Democratic Congress. He was not sent to parliament by National Democratic Congress. The moment you are voted for, you represent the entire constituency of Tamale North. That includes CPP, Movement for Change, NPP, and everyone. And you know, this attempt of trying to reduce election 2024 between NPP and NDC must stop immediately. The election 2024, it is going to be about issues. And when it is about issues, it is about Alan Chamantin and the rest of the country. And that is what we are talking about. So, taxes are sent to parliament. Is that not the case? Parliamentarians are the ones that approve taxes so that we pay. As you speak, from January going, if you are paying insurance, they are going to accept that we must pay more. If you are using a vehicle, they say we should pay 100 cedis. Already our current situation, we are unable to bear it. And we are heaping more. Look, we can complain all we can. These ministers that we complain about, bogus, some of them bogus as such, they were approved by these parliamentarians. What are we talking about? That you went to parliament to do good to your people. They brought you bogus ministers and you approved them. A while ago, we were talking about some of the Supreme Court appointments being party apparatchiks. You vetted them. You should have disqualified them right there. And that is why I'm saying that election 2024 must not be business as usual. Ask probing questions. Which of the leaders has the plan? Look, Tamale continues to grow cotton. Is that not the case? Cotton is a key ingredient in the textile industry. One of the policies of Mr. Lanchemante is to invest heavily in the garment industry. The garment and textile industry alone is giving Vietnam more than 35 billion a year. Ghana, we have relied on cocoa for so long, we don't even make more than 2 billion a year from it. Now, to be able to expand your textile industry, it means the cotton farming in Tamale must thrive. And we have a lot of cotton farmers here. So why would any cotton farmer sitting here say he will not vote for Alan Tremantin, who is promising to invest more in cotton so that you make more money, so that we can feed GTP, so that we can feed Japan Textiles and make money for the state? We continue to import maize. Why must, as a country, Ghana import maize? Why should we be convinced? We have had 32 years of leadership of the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party. Still we are importing maize. When we have arable farmlands in Tamale and its environs, that we just have to invest so much in it and reap the benefit of it. Mr. Alajamanti is saying that, don't worry. There is time for everything. There comes a time that we need to change our ways. And indeed, the Ghanaian will change his ways. And indeed, we believe the people of Tamale will change their ways come 2024, especially in the presidential. I've told you the parliamentary have no qualms. You decide. But the presidential, you cannot overlook Mr. Lanchamanti in this whole equation. You cannot. After all, at the end of the day, the vice president has proven that he has no clue about the economy. And I mean every word of it, because if you tell me that your policy for this country is a blue economy, and a blue economy is about the economy of the ocean. If you tell me that it's the economy of the ocean, what the vice president who claims to be coming from the north is telling you is that, is there any sea in Tamale? So you are not part of the economy of the vice president administration. You understand? So he has taken you out of the equation. As for the former president, he knows he has been president before. We should retire on his salary. There is no need to come back. Coming back to do what? To do what? Hey. So it tells you that we have to vote based on the issues. We intend to invest heavily in agriculture and back it with industrialization. It is out of this agreement that you get the raw materials to feed the industries. Every minute, his own works at the Trade and Industry Ministry. For the first time in the history of this country, Ghana is assembling vehicles here. 6 automotive companies are assembling here. These were all policies that he himself sat down, wrote to woo these automobile companies into the country to be assembling here. The objective is not just to be assembling, but to be actually manufacturing the vehicles in this country. And that is why, as a movement for change and as one of the plans of Mr. Lanchemante, is to make sure that we don't just go and mine the iron ore that has been discovered in the northern part of this country and export it in the raw form. No, he believes that we have to process iron together with manganese and bauxite to produce steel. Out of that steel, then we can manufacture the vehicles here. And that is why we take a serious view to the lithium deal. Because as part of our strategy, as a movement for change, is to develop the automotive industry. And if you want to develop the automotive industry, You know very well that the world is moving towards the green energy. And so, very soon, we are going to do away with fossil energy. If you are going to do away with fossil energy, it means you are going to use electric cars. And if you are using electric cars, you will need a lot of rechargeable batteries. And one of the key components of rechargeable batteries is lithium. So you don't go and get lithium and go and sell it cheap as though we are afraid to develop. And that is why we as a movement believe that it is time the country entrust the destiny of governance into the hands of Mr. Alan Kyerematen. Now, to the youth of this country, you represent the hope and aspirations for tomorrow. It is rather unfortunate that if I look at the room, the elderly seems to be more than the youth, and it goes to confirm the position that my brother held, the view that he held, that the youth day in and day out are losing confidence in our politics. They will lose confidence because our politics is turning out to be pack of lies. You just go and lie, you get the power, and you forget about the people. That is not good enough. It will come a time that if you don't take care, we will not be able to control anybody, because you will lie and the lies will end and you have nowhere to go. So let us as political actors in our various small ways begin to speak truth to power. We have brought our plan. Remember, manifestos are not plans. Manifestos are just set of promises. What Ghana needs is a plan that will back these manifesto promises. Without a plan, nobody grows. If you are a farmer, if you do not plan that during the dry season, you will do your land preparation, awaiting the rainy season, you are going to fail. And that is why, as a country, we must not be interested in the promises that people give us. When they come with their promises, ask them, where is your plan to achieve the very promise that you are giving to me? And where Ghana has gotten to, my brothers and sisters, no political party can do it alone. We all as a country, we must carry ourselves together and do things together. It is together that we will win. A recent development in this country by the young lady, Efua Santua, in the sing-a-thon, so that when Ghanaians came together to help her, she was able to break the record. And on this note, I also want to encourage Falatu, that I understand she's going to start the cooking competition from the 1st of January. That the entire country will rally behind her, and as a litmus test, you will know that together we will win and Ghana shall rise again. Once we come together, we would be able to support ourselves and grow. And you can only do that in our political sphere when you have an independent candidate. Trust me, when the NDC comes, they would only appoint ministers of states, DCEs. Every position will be occupied by NDC members. In an unlikely situation, NPP wins. The value will be the same. The only person that will be able to appoint my brother Mutala, my brother Suhini, my sister, in a government of national unity, is none other than who? It's very interesting that you all know the next president of the land. I'll end my submission here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Solomon Owusu. He takes you through a practical class of political communication. It makes it so easy. Solomon Owusu is from the Movement for Change. And of course, he was just talking about Phyla, and one of the persons who says she's also in town because of what will happen, the cookathon, is Madame Joyce Bauer Muktari. So let's listen.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tamale. Desba the Beula. Coming to Tamale always brings back very, very, very fond and beautiful memories. I was born here. And both my parents, as young people, traveled many miles to come here to attend secondary school. So it holds enormous promise and hope for me and my family. Unfortunately, my father has been late for many years, and my mother herself is struggling. So a lot of people have been asking this morning, why they haven't seen Mommy for some time. She's been very, very, very unwell, of course, because of old age and all of that. But fortunately, we are alive, we are healthy, and we are able to continue to visit a place that we call home. So this morning, I'm here largely because Tamale runs in my blood, the northern region in particular. And I bring you greetings from your elder brother, whose history, like mine, is very, very similar. Tamale was also his home. He went to school here. He worked here for many years. He knows the northern region very, very, very well. In fact, he met his lovely wife, Lodina, here in Tamale. I know why Suhini is chipping that in so quickly. Personal interests. But of course, a very, very Merry Christmas. And thank you so much for having all of us here. Our fathers, our very revered chiefs, I am honored and privileged to be here with all of you this morning. And of course, Comrade Kwesi Pratt and Pan-African Television for making this possible. It's such an amazing feeling to leave Accra every now and then and move out to the other regions. Ghana is not just Greater Accra. I think Ghana has 16 regions, and Tamale has been declared by West Africa as the fastest growing metropolis. So whatever is good for Ghana is also good to be hosted by Tamale and specifically the northern region. So I thank you all for this very, very great opportunity. I wouldn't have missed it for anything in the world. So I would be nowhere else but here this morning. And let's discuss the issues that have come up. I've heard so much about what is social, what is political, what is for the teacher, what is in the classroom. I wonder what is left for the lawyer. But I know that human rights is a question of everybody's interests. Poverty is a question of human rights. Unemployment is a human rights issue. Lack of opportunity and access is a human rights issue. Lack of opportunity even to find good and decent accommodation, good and well-paying jobs, opportunities for our teeming young people will all form the basis for a human rights action anywhere in the world, and Ghana is no exception. So this morning, beyond the campaign of John Dramani Mahama to lead this country once more, a campaign that I expect will rally all of us around him in a united and harmonious voice to wrestle power from this unperforming, inept, and utterly clueless NPP administration. May I please take your permission to ask you, have all of you in this country, in Ghana, in Tamale in particular, have you received the $1 million per constituency? Have you seen the 1D, 1F factories anywhere? Have you seen on any part of this country the promise to eradicate corruption? And you see, the thing we all forget about corruption is that it affects the poor even more, because they are not in Jubilee House. They are nowhere near the seat of government. They are also not family and friends of His Excellency the President. And so they will never be part of the nepotism that has reduced the public cake to a piece of cake shared only by a few family and friends, men and women of President Akuffo Addo's administration. My brothers and sisters gathered here, it is a conversation that all of us must be very, very, very interested in. How we intend to make better the lives of our most poor, the lives of those in our rural communities, of our women and of our children. The daughter of a feminist, anything that happens to a young girl, a young woman, or a woman anywhere in the world is a matter of grave concern to me. And when there's social unrest, when there's extreme corruption, when there's lack of employment and opportunity, the ones who are most affected are our women folk. Make no mistake, the woman is actually the fiber that holds the families together. And here in the north, we all know that most of our livelihoods, most of the hard work on our farms, in all the things that we do, are largely driven by women. I've recently seen research that suggests that of the 950 100,000 people who live in the Tamale metropolis in particular, at least 25% of them who are women are also farmers. It is therefore imperative that all of us focus largely on how to alleviate poverty. What is the main reason why all of us from the former Northern Territories have actually avoided poverty? It's because of education. Nothing more. Quality education, good education, relevant education, skilled education, empowering education, an education that redeems you from extreme poverty. So you'll find that growing up, even where one individual in a family gets a great education, great opportunities, it actually does what? It redeems a whole family. So question the level of deterioration in our educational system. You are all parents. You know how long the children spend in school. You know the quality of the students we are turning out. You understand what the future is if you don't have a skilled, well-educated set of young people. We also know that the young people are the future that we all envisage. Look, religion is indeed the opium of the poor. But imagine an ignorant poor. That is even worse and more disheartening. So please, today in Tamale, what we need to start asking ourselves, for all the juicy promises that you heard in 2016, in 2014, in 2012, up to date, tell me, how has all of this noise impacted positively on our livelihoods, on our lives as a people, on our communities? That we forget that sometimes we must also rise up. I grew up at a time when in Tamale the lights went off at 6 p.m. True or false? And NEDCO will be off for many, many months. We had one tank somewhere around the Bagabaga Training College that used to serve the community water, and that was it. And the water will probably run maybe a few days, and that's it. It is thanks to the vision of the National Democratic Congress that Tamale, the northern region, was joined to the national grid. This was a town that had individuals, great people, and this is the only time when I agree with my brother Solomon, where being partisan was only next to developing your zone and developing your region. We had people like Arai Alasan, lawyer Ibrahim Mahama, great individuals. I started school in Arai Alasan's wife's house. I don't know how many of you remember. It was the GIS of Tamale. I think it has a new name now. Fantastic place. My whole development is hinged on my experience in that school. And today my own mother runs a school, and I meet so many parents every time I come here. And you should see the quality of education that has been given to these young children and the opportunities that they receive. So make no mistake, if you ask yourselves, a leader who believes that construction of education infrastructure should be a national cake shared equitably to each and every region, what else would you ask for? If you have a leader who says that if the national cake is just one ball of kenke or TZ, let's be sure that each and every part of Ghana gets its fair share, what else can you ask for? If you have a leader who believes that there's a need for a share processing factory, the need for a rice mill to be dotted around the length and breadth of our regions, why not? Just imagine that those irrigation projects had come on stream as we were promised. Imagine that the northern region could actually withhold production of food from the rest of the country, and people will come here and beg you. The World Bank has told us that no country has fully developed without transportation. Why did the NDC administration want to build so effectively on the transportation system that Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah left for us? It is because there was a need to open up our regions, to create better access, to ensure that there are ready markets that are accessible for all the goods and the produce that come from this region. Imagine what Tamale would have been like without phase 1 and phase 2 of the airport processes. And today, all of us have forgotten just what that whole enclave used to look like. Go around the world now. Most airports are now aerotropolis, where you have hotels, you have hospitals, you have shopping malls, all sorts of modern amenities. The idea is that this will generate a new skill set, create jobs for our young people, and above all, open the northern parts of Ghana to the rest of the world. What beats you from this region, leaving Tamale on an aircraft all the way to perform the pilgrimage straight from your doorstep? For the last few years, who has heard about stampedes at the Hajj village? Nobody. But look at the cost of that trip to perform the pilgrimage. And this is why we also know that our economy has literally been run aground. I remember Tamale a few years ago. It was a hotbed for bustling business activity. Many young people were into all sorts of businesses, producing all sorts of things. There's been a huge gap. And I looked on the Forex Bureau board today at the airport, and these are Bank of Ghana rates. And the dollar is trading at what? 12 cedis to the dollar. How can anybody in this part of the world come out of poverty, start a business that will generate profits when you are competing with everybody else in the world, and yet the cedi to the dollar is 12 cedis? Look at the rate of inflation today, over 40%. This is a government that took Ghana's GDP from 56% to well over 110%. And these are conservative figures. Go to the bank this morning, my father's here, and all our mothers. Try to get a loan facility. Look at the interest rates. Look at the charges on these loans. And look at the level of challenges you face, the paperwork that they will ask you to bring. Go out there and buy just a bowl of papaya. Buy a bowl of rice. Buy a bowl of TZ. Buy a bowl of banku. And you will see the receipt. You have a COVID levy. You have a tourism levy. You have a VAT. You have an NHIL. Name it. But tell me, how many of us are able to access this NHIL as we used to? Go to the hospitals today. What is it that you have? Let's look at these things from a very clear perspective. And I'm happy that our father is here. Good afternoon, Daddy, and welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. So yes, he knew us when we were even very little kids, so it's a delight to see you here today. So please, this is the reason why the NDC is still the best option for all of us. A leader who cares, a leader who understands, a leader who lives with all of us and appreciates what our challenges are. In any case, what is President Mahama's private endeavor? He's a farmer himself. His father was a farmer. Most of his brothers are actually in private business. They are one family that usually don't take employments in these very formal environments. But somehow they do very well. Look at his brother Ibrahim Mahama. And today, let me also reach out to our brother Ibrahim Mahama, who is actually here doing amazing things for the creative industry. Fantastic initiative. Such innovation can only be found in regions where people have been tried and tested. So the northern region is actually a home of enormous creativity. And we must be sure that the right frameworks are developed and put in place to encourage all of us. At the time when I left law school, which is probably over 20 years now, there were very few young lawyers. I love the very robust environment that I see now, where every young person, be they from northern region, upper east, upper west, greater Accra, wherever, has more than one or two other degrees in different fields of endeavor. And we just heard our brother Suhini. Great examples of how a young teacher goes into the field of communication, into the fields of radio, and today he is a member of parliament representing a fantastic seat here in this region. This is the sort of future that our parents envisage. Because my father was a third-generation young man, first in his family to get a proper university degree. And when he got it, he was well over his mid-30s even. Life was not that easy all the time. Today, you have the University for Development Studies. You have the Tamale Teaching Hospital with a commensurate medical school for young people. And look at the number of doctors that that institution currently churns out. And all of these things are thanks to the ingenuity, are thanks to the love for humanity, and above all, the consideration that the governments of the NDC have always imagined for Ghana. Not just for NDC, not just for the individuals, but for each and every one of us. My brothers and sisters, make no mistake, 2024 presents us with a fantastic opportunity. A clarion call is being made to each and every one of us to rise up not for ourselves, but for the commonality of society, for the individual who has no voice, for the one who will not be in this room with us to listen to any one of us, but for the ones that all of us here have become role models for, examples for, the persons that we inspire most, especially those who need it. Look, to be able to achieve financial independence beats everything in this world. It is a fundamental human right. To be able to wake up in the morning and afford your medication. To take it for granted that your pensions that you've invested will actually generate profits for you. Today, look at our pensioners. Over 1 million of them have been completely disenfranchised from their own investments. And you saw our former Chief Justice, a jurist par excellence, joining the numbers to raise awareness for the challenges of these haircuts. Leaders who are so inconsistent, leaders who do not walk the talk. These are not the sort of leaders that the Asian tigers had. This is not the future that people like Lee Kuan Yew envisage for their people. This is not the story of what our fathers and grandfathers wanted for us. And this is certainly not the Ghana that we want to leave for our children. We want a Ghana where leaders stand for what they believe in, where leaders speak truth to power, where leaders stand in all humility to consult, to listen, to take advice, above all, to lead even in humility. And you know, I say it all the time, that one of the most lasting qualities of John Mahama as a leader is his enormous humility. You walk past him in the morning and you think, oh, did I just walk past the boss? And you turn around with a smile. Day in, day out, we can all take lessons from John Mahama's example. You know, people re-emphasize and re-echo the fact that, oh, but he's a former, this is a former that. Please, do we know any of our leaders today who were not a former something? Nothing beats being a former foreign minister. Nothing beats being a former attorney general. These are great platforms, or a former deputy governor. That is a coveted role. Who wouldn't want to be a deputy governor or governor of the Bank of Ghana? Everybody would want to do so. Today, that bank, where we believe that we're going to arrest the cedi and the dollar and leave the keys behind, that bank that is not a deposit-taking bank, today has been able to cause financial loss to the good people of Ghana. How is that possible? That bank today requires a huge monstrosity of a building to survive. Today, we have invested millions of dollars in the construction of a national cathedral, and yet when you go past that cathedral, you see absolutely nothing. Of the 950 people who live in this metropolis, if that $100 million were given, even half of it, to the half of people in the brackets looking for businesses, looking for resources, looking for funds, imagine the profitability of that amount. Huge. We destroyed brand new buildings belonging to the judiciary service. We destroyed private properties, all because we wanted to go out there and construct a cathedral. And in the name of that cathedral, the stealing that has taken place is mind-boggling. Today, in 2023, we have the government of Ghana with one of the weakest finance ministers in the history of this country, coming to tell us that the Office of Government Machinery alone is going to be getting what? 3 billion Ghana cedis. To do what? And for what? So that they can churn out more propaganda, churn out more disinformation, churn out more fake news with money that can go to our rural communities most poor. People who need it more than any other person. My brothers and sisters, this is an effort to redeem the spirit of our country. When you look at the national anthem of this country, it tells us that whether Ghanaian, foreign residents, owners of Ghanaian passports, peoples born here or outside, irrespective of creed of gender, of religion, of ethnicity. All of us have a stake in our leaders, in our democracy. Above all, it is our common fight to fight against the common enemy, that is poverty and unemployment. Nothing beats these social cankers in our society. We can speak for days on end, but if we do not back our talk with action, then it is completely useless. And that is the challenge we have today with the leaders we have. They talk too much, so many promises. Not one has materialized. And even the few that have, go and check the bloating of the papers, the bloating of the accounts, the bloating of the certificates. And the question is, when do they account to the people that they are stealing from? The rape of the public purse, and yet when you try to question or criticize, I have borne the brunt of a lot of it. And this morning, my brother Suhini was telling me about one of those simple things that they do that I think that we all should realize, that the government has no message. They have absolutely nothing left to do. So the only thing left is to malign and use disinformation, fake news in particular. A lot of the monies that they take into Jubilee House, that's all they're doing with it. Trying to change people's sentiments through artificial intelligence. In developed countries, people use AI today to challenge documentation, to challenge paperwork. When you write thesis in particular, these things are used for positive things. Look at the millionaires and billionaires that have risen up because of artificial intelligence. Our government, instead of using it to help us, they are using it rather to destroy political opponents. I have never said that John Mahama will be unable to fix the economy. In any case, at the time when John Mahama and Professor Mills were in charge of this government, we maintained a single-digit information for well over 17 months. And everybody was very conscious of the fact that Professor Mills in particular cared very much about society, about poverty, about all the things that matter. In any case, what exactly are we looking for as a people? Better livelihoods, employment, opportunities, development. And I love the fact that in recent times, on all the campaign conversations, you hear our chiefs and opinion leaders speak to the fact that many of the things that were promised have not come. Look, security is a huge issue this part of the world. When you are traveling from Accra to the Upper East, to the Northern region, to the Upper West, there are all these carjackers and all these, all sorts of attacks that happen to our mothers and sisters who travel the length and breadth of this country to try and eke out a living. These are the things that concern people who are looking for their daily bread. And like I said, we are not all in Jubilee House. So not all the profitability of Jubilee House will rub off all of us. All we ask of our leaders is what? To ensure that equity becomes a rule of thumb. Whether you are in the Northern region or the former Northern Territories, whether you are in the Upper East or Upper West, Bunu Ahafo East, Ashanti region, name it. Each and everybody must at least feel whatever little benefits that the public purse has to offer. The Eastern Corridor project, that's exactly what it was about. A project that will open up and create livelihoods for the good people of Ghana, not just for a few people. The connectivity through aviation was also to do same. The whole thought about inland ports was to open up, like Solo rightfully said, you don't even have a benefit in the coastline here. But you see the impact of it. The goods that are imported come to Tema, come to Takrady, and come all the way here by road. So whether you live along the coastline or not, there is a certain benefit that you derive from the ports of Ghana, wherever they are based, because that is where you can have a port facility. But the inland ports that take you from here all the way to Niger, to Paga, and note, Tamale has always been a fantastic trade route from Tamale to Paga to Salaga. So this is the history of this beautiful region. And it is the reason why this region will now stand very tall as we go into 2024 to make a resounding statement, to retain our members of parliament, to elect new members of parliament for the NDC, make no mistake, you must have overwhelming numbers in parliament to push through your policies. That is what the 275-member parliament does. The second thing is that let's do well to ensure that wherever we have females standing, that we do well to elect them. The numbers of 2020 are woefully inadequate. The third thing is that we must stand up to be counted so that when the victory rallies are being held, the northern region will be mentioned for your contribution to the success of this campaign. And please, all of us have a stake in the success of the NDC, because the success of the NDC is also the success of the good people of Ghana. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Madam Joyce Boamo.
Story OTCC no a platform my friend PENDREAM TV and I OT story no na o feedback we hear empa story what no any story be our platform no so be what ya o pese o my feedback no fafa WhatsApp message or WhatsApp number 0277128777 na yebebo e wo PENDREAM FM Ghana for nyina ate won ka
Debi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase na so far so good say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV